So last night, we got woken up by a deer, probably this one, eating my trekking poles, which I had heard could happen, but I never thought it would happen to me. I guess they like the salt in the trekking pole handles from all the sweat, so they just chew on them. Thankfully, Indy noticed before too much damage was done, so that I still have trekking pole handles. But yeah, that was interesting. Hey, so we're in NorCal now. We're out of the Sierras finally, and we anticipated that one of the features of NorCal was going to be wildfires. We haven't heard of any fire closures from this year yet. We're expecting that to potentially crop up either in NorCal or Oregon. And of course, this morning we just got into NorCal, and first thing this morning we woke up, smell smoke, and look out and see that everything is really hazy. So I don't know how well you can see that in the background. Normally it would look clearer than that, but there's definitely smoke in the air. So we have no idea what's going on, really. Like, if there's a fire, where the fire is, where the smoke is coming from. As far as we know, there aren't any closures in this area, so we're just kind of playing it by ear, but kind of funny that already here are the wildfires. They're here. So yeah, keep you updated if anything changes, but for now we're just going to keep hiking because, we don't have any other info, and we expect that the fires are a ways away still, if they even exist. But it's definitely smoky out here, so something's going on. We'll find out what. Hey, so after a lot of thought, Andy and I have decided to skip a section of trail that was impacted by the Dixie and Bear fires last year. It's a pretty big chunk of trail. There were some huge fires and they burned through quite a lot of forest. The trail is technically open this year. The fires were last year. So we could hike through it conceivably, like it's open. But we have decided that we are going to go around it instead. The trail it's a long enough section that we can't really go through it in one day, so we would have to be camping in it and stuff. And we have some concerns about kicking up like ash and soot from the fire and breathing that in, and also about like burned, dead and dying trees falling, trying to find safe places to camp. So because of that, we're going to go around it instead of through it, which means that in total we're going to miss about 180 miles of trail, which sounds like a lot. So far there are no active fire sections on the trail ahead of us, so I'm hoping that we won't have to skip much more because of current fires this year, but we'll see. Skipping this section also means we will miss the official halfway point of the trail, but we've decided that it's just going to be what's best for us, so we're going to go around it and rejoin the trail in about 180 miles. So that's the plan. Yeah, I'm kind of sad to be missing it, but also I think, it's the right choice just because it'll be safer, more pleasant. It's supposed to be really, really hot this week. So hiking through that area with like no shade is going to be really rough. And I can always go back and hike it later. It'll still be there and it'll regrow. So I may in a few years come back and decide to fill that section in. But for this year, we're just going to go around and hopefully we won't have to deal with many more fire closures up ahead. So far it's looking pretty good, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, see you up the trail.
We got old shoes and new shoes. So they're the exact same shoes. The new ones are my third pair so far. These old ones have lasted about 500 miles. And my first pair lasted about 700. So we'll see how much we can get on the new ones. But yeah, it's a big difference. They're like a totally different color. And they're the exact same kind of shoes. Like the same color and everything. Craziness.
So, quick update on the fire situation. We passed an information center at a trailhead and they told us that the smoke we were seeing was likely from the Electra fire, which is a little ways south and west of us. So it's unlikely to impact the PCT, except for all the smoke that we're seeing. So that's good news. There's also a big fire in Yosemite, but again, that's a ways south of us, so we won't see any direct impacts from that either. So I expect it's going to be like this a lot, where we just see and smell smoke. We don't know where it's coming from, but there's a lot of forest to burn that's not on the PCT. So the odds are that it's like right in front of us are pretty low. So yeah, so far so good. So this is what a recent burn looks like. All of these black dying trees. This is why we didn't want to hike through the Dixie Burn area, because it was like 100 miles of just trees like this. Yeah, and they'll all fall down in the next few years, which makes it kind of dangerous to walk through. But hopefully none of them fall down on me right now.
It's a fish hatchery. I came over here because there was a pit toilet, but it turns out you can also just walk in and look at the fish ponds. So that's neat.
So, since we're not going to get an official halfway point, this will have to do. It's 1,400 miles. Over halfway done. a dog, it turns out, but a deer. Apparently this family has a pet deer, or just a friendly deer. Apparently I took a wrong turn somewhere. Pretty sure that's Mount Shasta. It like looms over all of Northern California, but it looks a lot closer than it did a few days ago. And I guess we're just gonna keep heading towards it. It looks really big and snowy, but we're not going over it, thankfully.